In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about fluid management in Surginet Anesthesia. In this particular example, I have launched a case. I have used the general anesthesia with endotracheal tube, the GEN ETT macro, and executed it. The patient has undergone induction of anesthesia. I've attested to my presence and already documented that peripheral IV was inserted. What I'm going to do now is, from the macro in the to-do list, drag my lactated ringers down on top of the IV icon, and that sets it to the timestamp of 903. All fluids will be documented up in this row, but by dragging it to that IV icon, it starts the bag at that particular point. Now, let's say that between the time the bag was started and 9:15, we had looked up and noticed that 100 mLs of fluid had been administered. We simply go to the 9:15 time point, do a right click, come down, enter incremental volume lactated ringers, and it defaults right to the window that we want. So all we have to do is just type 100, click OK, and we are good to go. 100 mLs has gone in from the point that we started to the point at which we noticed that 100 mLs had gone in. Now, how do we correct that value? Let's say that we actually noticed that it was 150 mLs, not 100, and we want to correct that. How do we correct that? Well, you can come up here and double click on any point in the infusion line, and it will pop up that familiar window pane again. And if you notice, there's a yellow line here, and that represents this section here, this segment here that hasn't been charted on yet. In order to go to this segment, you need to do an adjustment here. Go back to the very beginning of the fluids, and now it's a little bit clearer to see that we want to document on this section of the fluid administration. And again, Cerner really likes to fixate on the rate. We don't want to do that. We want to look at the volume. And here you can see where we charted 100 originally, but we said that we actually noticed it was 150. So this is how you can correct it. Click OK, and now that segment will get corrected to 150 mLs. Okay. All right, now let's add another crystalloid, and this time I'm going to show you how you actually have to do a little bit of work if you're going to drag a fluid from the intake window pane up to the to-do list, because again, Cerner likes to assume that you're going to be doing a rate rather than a volume. So if I click on the edit, I come up here and notice that the cursor has been placed into the rate box. We don't document by rate usually. We document by incremental volumes. So I come back down here and just tap in the box. That's all you have to do, so that it knows that you're going to be charting via incremental volume. Click OK. And then now we can slide it over to the point at which we started it. We'll say we started it at the same time as the lactated ringers. I let go, and there you go. The infusion has started. So now we have our second bag of IV fluids running. Now we're going to move on to blood products, which is a little bit trickier. We go to the blood products window pane, and we're going to select packed red blood cells, known as RBC volume infused in Surginet Anesthesia. Select it, and then just move it up to anywhere in the window pane, in the to-do window pane. And then now we're going to edit it. There are three things that you need to do whenever you use a blood product when that window pops up. The first is put in a bag volume. It's important to do this in the blood products, because we need to know how much volume was in each particular bag, and further, each bag has an identity. That is, it has a unit number, which is very important in our documentation. So the first thing you do is enter the bag volume. So by default, all packed red blood cell bag volumes will be 250 mLs, unless the patient come as a NICU baby, for example, and has a smaller bag. The next thing you need to do is just tap in the volume for the reason I stated previously. It will allow you to document incremental volumes in doing so. And then the last thing you want to do is come down to here in the comments section and type in your unit number of blood that you're transfusing, and that is located on the bag. Do not click execute because that will put it to the timestamp of now. Rather, just click OK. It'll leave it in the to-do window pane, and then now you can drag it to the point at which you started infusing. Let's say we started infusing that packed red blood cell at 9:15. I drag it to 9:15, let go, and there you see that the bag is infusing, and an undisclosed amount of volume has gone in. Okay, so if you notice way over here too, you'll see a little C that's stands for comment. All comments, I'm going to show you where that would appear on the anesthesia record that's printed out at the end, not printed but saved electronically. Task print preview. We look at this view, go to the last page, and here you can see that the red blood cell bag is listed here with the unit number. All right, I'm going to get out of this, go back to the application. And what we want to do now is we'll say that at 9:25, 100 mLs had gone into the patient. So we come up to the point at 9:25, and we do a right click, add incremental volume. We're going to type in, did I say 100? I'm going to say 150 mLs went into the patient. Click OK. And then you can see between the time that we started the bag until that point there, blue represents change, green represents starting, blue represents change, red represents completion. So from the point of starting to change is 150 mLs. And then let's say that the patient required even greater transfusion, and we ran the rest of the bag in, and it finished at 9:35. What we would do then is come to the 9:35 line, time point, do a right click, and then this time we're going to do stop current RBC volume infused. None of the other selections, not change, not modify, not remove. We want to stop the bag because that means the bag is completed, and what it'll do is a couple of things. One, it will populate the volume that you gave of fluids in that packed red blood cell bag, and then it'll calculate whatever volume was left in the bag, and then you have that nice completed time posted right there. Okay. Lastly, I want to show you how to document the tallies for the lactated ringers and normal saline. And what I'll say here is that these two values here are, we cannot put those two values in the total column when we go to suspend or finalize the case. So let me show you that. We're going to suspend the case right now. And if I put in 150 mLs for the lactated ringers, notice it's still yellow. It's unhappy because it wants something greater than that 150 mLs. So if I go and put 151, it's happy. And similarly with the normal saline, it wants something greater than 0. So if I put 1, it'll be happy. Okay. That's it.